Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Potter here with my good friend, Dr. Raymond Keller. Notice over as you're facing him, his left shoulder. Venus Adventure. This is all about some amazing technology that Dr. Raymond Keller has learned. It's going to be one of our most interesting, I think, for you conversations. So welcome, Cause, to the show.
Thank you, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here and speaking with all of your viewers at the Promise Revealed.
Well, I know they're going to enjoy you here today. Eventually, we're going to get some live going. I think that's a lot of people get a lot of live stuff and people all excited about their events. I'm not sure. So let's talk about my website real quick, folks. My website, Raymond Keller's books, and everything can be found here on the promiserevealed.net. We're back up and functioning. The site is going through. I had some security issues. I was down for quite a while. I had some malware in there. I don't know. Some sneaky little bots got in there and did some naughty things. So this is my summer conference. You can go here to see it. Raymond will be there. We haven't really got all the speakers. We're still in negotiations here. Upcoming events, but we want to go into shop. You want to check out the books. And if you're interested in the pyramid on my head, you can check that out. I might do a little video so you can see the efficacy of the pyramids. But this is the promiserevealed.net. Raymond's books, we have some great sales in there. I've mentioned them. Some people have responded and bought an entire package of 9 books from Dr. Keller for $150. It's about $20 to $25 in shipping. I'll have to check. I just shipped out 2 of them today, which is great. Any Venus book. My friends from Venus book is 30, or you could join the inner circle. So look at this. This is pretty much all Raymond Keller in here. We have Dr. Fred Bell's book. Where did that go? Rays of Truth and Crystal of Light. Amazing book. I just got that on Kindle too. It's really nice to hear all the information. So all these amazing books by Dr. Keller. Please take advantage of the knowledge. And of course, my pyramids and some other stuff there. But I want to focus on letting you all know that, Dr. Keller's got some great stuff here. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an amazing show. And I'm always so excited to share what interests me. And for those of you who know me, I've always talked about Raymond, and I probably am casting pearls before swine all the time about the incredible experiences Raymond Keller has had in his life. And for me, these indicate an openness and an evolution in contact to the people of Earth, preparing us for the coming future, the future changes prophesized in the Bible and every ancient culture, a great change. And not just a cyclic change, but a transformative change in consciousness and thinking and feeling. And so Raymond Keller was able to write this book. It's called The Gospel of Thomas. This is Gospel of Thomas, Part 4. And Raymond and I'm going to take us back to the beginning of how this book was written. And I'll preface this, and we may go into the other technology that Dr. Frank Strange's had, and also that Raymond witnessed on the planet Venus when he went into, I guess it's the time temple. And they have the time lords, or the Metrons, who monitor the time. And he was able to go into this building to look into the Akashic records. I know there's a million people out there reading the Akashic records. I would like to, believe everyone is able to do that. But this is such an accurate version that I'm going to share with you this wonderful technology as we get into the interdimensional understanding of the let's call it the hierarchy of light, or the heavenly administration on the material worlds. And it's now time that mankind understands the universality of the real beings, whether they're physical in their own dimension or whether they lower their vibration to come here to be physical as we know them. So Dr. Keller, Raymond Cause, the magic man, why don't you share with us how you were given this technology, which was You could maybe talk about the history of Moses and the Ark of the Covenant. And this technology, folks, is called the breastplate of Aaron, which is used in conjunction with the seer and the interpreter, two crystals. They were not only used by Moses. The only other person I know other than Dr. Raymond Keller was Joseph Smith, who was given this technology to look into the ancient records of the Sumerian cuneiform tablets. So this little precursor I'm giving you is going to move forward to help you understand what Raymond has here. But he was able to place his hands over the plates or any record of any writing in any language in any time, and he would be able to see into the past, into a bilocation signal, what was happening. So Kaz, I'm going to let you kind of take it away. He has a wonderful PowerPoint, folks. So thank you, Kaz.
All right, Rob. Well, thank you so much. And I just want you to know, and the viewers, that this technology has been made available to many others on Earth, and all following the celestialization of the Earth. When the Earth transitions into a lighter density, a higher dimension, that in the book of Revelation, it says that that the seer stones that are used in the Urrim and Thummim will be given to every single person that's inhabiting the celestialized Earth. So
wait, that says that in the Bible?
Yes, so some are getting a little preview of it.
I'm not a biblical scholar, but I want to do my get out thing. What, really? Everyone's going to stone, or they're going to be able to access that technology?
Yes, they'll receive an Urrim and Thummim. So that the word Urrim means light and Thummim means perfections. So you have one. They're both translucent stones. The seer stone is the white onyx, very translucent stone, and then the darker one is the Thummim. And I explain a little bit about these today. Usually this is such a complicated topic that I just explain that, well, the Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene were brought about by supernatural means. But of course, it is more than that. And I'll try to explain it as the best I can. Okay, so we have, as I said, the Urrim and Thummim means lights and perfection. So perfections are accurate celestial knowledge leading one to perfection. One of the books in the Book of Mormon is called Mosiah, and in chapter 8, King Limhi is overwhelmed to learn that of King Mosiah in the land of Zarahemla, a man who has a gift to translate ancient records. For he has wherewith that he can look and translate all records that are of ancient date, and it is a gift from God. And that's in Mosiah chapter 8, verse 13.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is where in the Book of Mormon, where Joseph Smith translated it, he was given these seer stones and associated material in order for him to carry out that work that he was empowered with his gift of seership.
Right. The Book of Mormon was similar to the Gospel of Thomas in the manner. It was probably the exact same manner, I imagine. Now, Kaz, let's go back to Moses and give a history of how the technology and maybe what its purpose was a little bit during Moses' time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get to that, but I wanted to explain some things here to lay the groundwork of it.
Okay, of course.
If I could.
Yeah.
So, like I said before, this gift of seership is not unique to these prophets in the ancient Americas in the Book of Mormon, but many in both the old and new worlds use this gift to receive inspiration and even translate ancient records. So there are many different tools were used in these by these prophets, among them the Urrim and Thummim, which is found in the spiritual record of the Old Testament, in addition to later in the Doctrine and Covenants of the Mormon Church and other Restoration churches. So insofar as the process of revelation is concerned, it should be remembered that the Lord speaks to all men and women according to their language unto their understanding. So this quotation also comes from the Book of Mormon in 2 Nephi 31, verse 3. In doing this kind of spiritual work, however, it's absolutely imperative that we read the scriptures in the context of the people they are speaking about. So before embarking upon anything such as a translation of a work like the Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene, it makes a lot of sense to obtain the added light and knowledge by researching the histories, the social context, the times that these were taking place, other peoples surrounding these ancient civilizations, and bringing forth this gnosis or this information. Now, in the Old Testament, now we're ready to go to your question. In the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible, the Urrim and Thummim are elements of the Hoshin, the breastplate worn by the high priest and attached to the ephod. So these were these were kept for safekeeping in the Ark of the Covenant. Now the ephod was a gold-threaded apron mixed with other threads, of course, but it had golden rings to firmly attach the breastplate close to the body, so up here and down on the sides. As many biblical scholars believe, the phrase Urrim and Thummim refers to the two respective translucent seer stones used by the high priest to answer a question or reveal the will of God. The biblical text states that the Urrim and Thummim were placed in the breastplate, not the ephod. So there was a little pocket inside underneath there. The integration of the stones in the breastplate, as well as the Hebrew usage of Urim as lights, indicates that the Urim and Thummim may be seen as a type of ocular device through which the priest would look when receiving celestial information. So the entire apparatus could aptly be described as an augmentation device for one's own psychic abilities. So in here, I learned from Clayton Parker, the friend of Annalise Guerin, his Annalise Guerin student, that we're referring to psychometry and what we might call today remote viewing. So the seer stones, composed of onyx, one of a dark hue and the other white, are kept in a pocket in the inside of the breastplate, and when used for ocular purposes, are set into a pair of spectacles that are set in a silver frame. These special eyeglasses, in contemporary usage, have been fixed within a type of goggles. That's to prevent slippage and holding the frame in place, thus preventing eye fatigue on the part of the user.
Wow, Cos. So I have a question here. So
Yeah.
Did they have glass back in Moses' time? Were they carrying around pieces of glass?
Well, they had obsidian, which is a type of volcanic.
It's pretty dark, though.
Yeah, obsidian can be dark. Yeah.
So he would look through like sunglasses, more like then. Really?
Yeah, the one stone, the one onyx stone would be a darker, and that was served as a kind of filter for the passage of the light. And I'm going to talk more about the importance of light in this whole process here in just in just a minute.
I just want to be clear though, because the audience is going to understand later, but you were given a pair of glasses. They were looking through these stones.
Yes, look through the stones. Mhm.
So they had to look through stones, but you had two stones separate that were somehow advanced to look through glasses.
Yes, you fix them in a like a silver wire frame. It's shaped like a figure eight, and it holds them in place.
So you were wearing the stones like this? No. Were you looking through stones is what I want to know.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
And that's why they call them seer stones. When I went to I attended as a seminary student, the Graceland University Seminary. That's the Community of Christ, formerly known as the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Independence, Missouri. And they took out the seer stones that Joseph Smith used from the vault there and let me handle them and the other students there. And then I thought, wow, revelation and knowledge of celestial things has not stopped on the earth. It didn't die out in the first century. And if Joseph Smith could do it, I thought, well, why can't I or anybody else?
Right.
And I think though that you have to be what I call in the zone.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm in the zone when I'm just feeling like electricity kind of run through me, and then the surroundings, even if it's inside, they all take on a golden hue, and it's like everything is standing still or just moving in super slow motion.
That's more than just in the zone, cause that's a special space.
I think it's because it's what Annalise Guerin was talking about, is that you're rising into a higher octave of light, and so you're moving faster. All the molecules in your molecular structure are moving faster, like transitioning to like a kingdom of God level, celestial level.
Right.
Everything else around you looks like it's like it's in a
Right.
in a slow-mo, like
Right.
in the football game when they do the slow-mo cam.
Yeah. I had this experience. I described it when I was with Gabriel Green folks on the first page of my website when a guy they sent a teacher for me to teach me a few things. And he actually was the spaceship came into the building, and he had mentioned that we were sitting there and a golden light was coming down. It was very unique, and we were looking at everyone. So this is a frequency. So I want to go back. Raymond Keller's a Mormon, but this is not uniquely Mormon. This has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with spiritual connection to God and understanding frequency and adjustment. Okay, Kaz. So let's continue here. We're talking about the seer, and the Urrim and Thumin, and how these ancient technology were used throughout history as a bilocation signal to interpret different scriptures and to actually to be able to look into the past or the book of life or the Akashic records, as we call it. Okay, Kaz.
Yes, that's right. So these spectacles that I'm referring to were called by Joseph Smith collectively as the interpreters. So this was a pair used in translating the Book of Mormon, as well as other documents like the Book of Abraham. And in my Venus books, I go over some of the facsimiles in the Book of Abraham that show the Kolob Stargate and the connections to other planets and planetary systems, and including the core of the galaxy. So they're all in these Venus books. And I'd encourage everybody to get one. That would that would be nice. But the Urim and Thummim appear in the Bible in Exodus chapter 28, verses 15 through 30. And I'm going to put this up. Let's see if I can do this. I need to
He's
find.
going to share a screen, folks. So I'm going to talk a little bit here. So Raymond is sharing with us this Christian technology, which really relates to interdimensional extraterrestrial contact. Again, we're getting into another contact level of understanding about Christ and interdimensionality. So here we go.
Okay, this is from an 1890 engraving, and it's the prophet Joseph Smith, born in 1805 and assassinated in 1844, receives his special spectacles or interpreters and other artifacts pertaining to a lost civilization in the Americas necessary for his translation work of the Book of Mormon from a celestial being known as Moroni. So you see at his feet is a sword of Laban, is one of the characters in the ancient America. That's the story is in the Book of Mormon.
And what's the U-shaped thing? Are those glasses?
Yeah, those are that's the Urrim and the Thummim affixed in a pair of spectacles, the glasses.
Okay. And so what's he holding there?
Oh, that's the gold plates.
Wow, they were really small.
Yeah, they were small, but he was able to interpret those books with the that are in the Book of Mormon with those spectacles.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. So now I want to just talk a little bit about light, and this is that in the Latter-day Saint Prophet Brigham Young, that's the LDS Church, his favorite scripture was found in the Doctrine and Covenants. That's the rules and regulations for governing the church. 93 verse 36, which states, "The glory of God is intelligence," or in other words, light and truth. Light and truth. Now, the Urim and Thummim thus helps the user to avail themselves of the eternal spiritual properties inherent in light and crystals, the latter embodying an accurate knowledge or gnosis of all things past, present, and probable futures. Now, George Norrie, the host of Coast to Coast, his name means in Arabic light. So it's interesting that a gentleman with that name would be presiding over a radio program that goes out over 500 stations, and his name has to deal with light or enlightenment. And I want to show you some pictures now. And hold on, I've got to. Okay, we're going to.
So we're getting a history here about the Urrim and the Thumin and the history, and we're going to learn a lot more about this. It's going to be a long show, or we'll do a second show on it.
Okay, this is a picture of the day of painting of the day of Pentecost. There were thousands in attendance from many lands in the Middle East and some beyond that area. This was in 33 AD. This was the birth of the Christian church, the assembly. And they received tongues of fire upon their heads that could, thereby everybody could understand the message of the apostles. The apostles spoke it in their own language of Aramaic, but everybody there heard it and understood completely what was going on in their own languages. This is in the book of Acts.
Dr. Frank Strange said that when he viewed this from the Akashic records, he said that there were many disciples in the upper room of of the while they were waiting for Christ. He said to wait for 3 days, and they were waiting. At a certain point of time, he said that everyone looked around in the room, the apostles, and they could see tongues of flaming fire upon their foreheads, and they started to make exclamations, but they were exclaiming in different languages, and the people in the streets could hear them. This is why they call it speaking in tongues. Is that accurate, Cause? From what?
Oh, yes, yes, it goes both ways. This is an amazing power. In the time of John the Baptist in his ministry, which was preparatory for the arrival of Jesus, he said, I only baptize with water, but there comes one after me who will baptize with fire and with the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
So this is what's happening now, is that the Christian church is empowered with Jesus' ministry. Now, when we look at light and the role that light plays, we know that Helena Blavatsky in the Theosophical Society understood that light and intelligence permeated the entire universe, and that there isn't one iota of outer space or the universe that isn't filled with light and truth and revelation. So since the days of the great pharaoh Akhenaten, the ancient Egyptians believed that living rays of light imparted celestial knowledge to those humans ready to receive it. And where does even this light that reaches the earth, it's trapped in the rocks and so forth, everything is never lost. In fact, the light that emanates from the sun and the earth and is reflected by the moon and the planets, it goes on into infinity in space, and it can be retrieved. This is all knowledge that can be retrieved and reconstituted. So this is really amazing stuff. The ancients knew about all this long before we did.
Okay, Cause. So you're saying that what is happening, like for instance, you talk about the ice crystal caves on Venus of individual records, but you're saying that everything that's happening here is light that's existing in the universe, and they're really you're able to just have a resonance through the stone. This is an incredible technology. It's actually keyed by you putting your hands over the records. I mean,
yes, it augments your own psychic abilities, and
ah,
crystals, you are able to tap into where your mind is directing.
wow.
Oh, this is powerful. This is powerful stuff. This is how it really works.
This is quite metaphysical, folks. And for those of you who are getting triggered and angry because we're talking about Christ and different churches, the original church was just a ecclesia, a gathering of people who were witnessing Christ's life and were ordained to share the message of truth, of peace, of love, of hope, and man's immortal nature. So we're going into the technology and stuff here. We're gonna have to do 2 shows on this, Cause. Go ahead.
So here we see on the bottom, this is the breastplate of Aaron with precious stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Now in psychometry, when we deal with objects because they retain power, they retain light and vibrations from events from history, and you could draw these out of them. And as a prophet and a high priest in Israel, of course, then that's why has these different stones of various types affixed to the breastplate. Okay.
Can you tell me how many people? I mean, is it mentioned in the Jewish text? How many others got the breastplate of Aaron? I mean,
yes, it mentions that it was stored in the Ark of the Covenant, and until the Ark of the covenant was lost, then it was available to the Levites. So these were the sons of the descendants of Aaron. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the breastplate in the New King James Version as it's represented in Exodus 28:15 through 30. So people will know exactly what it looked like and how it. So I've done a little research and correlated the types of stones that were used there, and I think it's very, very interesting. Especially, I know you have a background in being a jeweler. So this is what it says. You shall make the breastplate of judgment artistically woven according to the workmanship of the ephod or the apron. You shall make it of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and fine woven linen you shall make it. It shall be doubled into a square. A span shall be its length, and a span shall be its width. And you shall put settings of stones in it, 4 rows of stones. So there's 3 stones in each row and four rows. So that makes 12 stones. Now the second row, let's see, the first row shall be sardius, and that's a ruby, a topaz, and an emerald. And then that shall be the first row. The second row shall be a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, jacinth, which is actually it's a yellow type of jasper, an agate, an amethyst, and the fourth row, beryl, which is carnelian, and onyx, which can be any polished translucent stone of one color, or possibly black and white, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold settings or faceted in gold. And the stone shall have the names of the sons of Israel, 12 according to their names, like on a signet ring.
So I want to ask you a question now. The Urrim and the Thumin, did these set into that area, or they were inside, right?
Yeah, there was apart from the 12 stones that are on the breastplate, inside the breastplate there was a pocket attached to the breastplate, not the ephod, not the vest, but inside the breastplate there was the two seer stones.
So did you use those seer stones?
You might recall in the Bible they were when the high priest visited the sons of Jesse to find a king to replace Saul, that all the sons of Jesse came forward to him, and he held out the seer stones, and when they glowed, then that was indicating that the youngest of the sons, David, would be the new king.
Wow. Okay, so there's a little bit of interdimensional ET magic going on there, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I have to ask you, was there only one breastplate? Did you get the actual breastplate that was made back when? Or is there
No, it was a facsimile.
Okay, and I guess the original is probably kept in some record room to be revealed later.
Yes, it's the original one is with the Ark of the Covenant, wherever that may be.
Uh-huh. So I guess you didn't need the Ark of the Covenant, but they did back in the ancient times. It was used in conjunction with that.
Yes, because there were other items in the Ark of the Covenant and things that the Ark of the Covenant could do, apart from apart from the breastplate. So that this is yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Can you tell us one other thing that was in there real quick?
Oh yeah, the Ten Commandments for one thing.
Oh, okay. They were
That
on
were,
in
that
stone.
were etched on stone, right, and given to Moses.
And
Well,
did he really
it's
break
the
them?
yeah, it's the second set that's in the Ark of the Covenant.
Did any of the did any of
The,
the
the
commandments
first the first set he broke.
did any of the commandments change?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Well, I could say that Jesus gave a higher law when he was on the earth because he said all the commandments, including the 613 other commandments that are in the Jewish law and tradition.
They weren't commandments, they were just man-made
Yeah,
suggestions.
they were all bound up he said, Jesus said, I give you a new commandment that you love one another, that you
Right,
love God and love one another.
right.
And so that supersedes everything. So when you're operating in the spirit of love and kindness, then you're living you're living the higher law, and you're not subject to the Ten Commandments because you know you are already acting as an emissary of God and a citizen in the kingdom of God.
So can you tell me, were you given the fabric? Was it the same colors and all of that?
Oh, um, yeah, basically, yeah,
Base-
mostly gold. Although there was an adaptation, um, and I'll talk about that in a little bit here.
Okay.
So you shall make chains for the breastplate at the end, like braided cords of pure gold. And you shall make 2 rings of gold for the breastplate, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. Then you shall put the 2 braided chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. That's to hold it in place. And the other 2 ends of the 2 braided chains you shall fasten to the 2 settings and put them in the shoulder straps of the ephod on the front. So there was like a epaulets at the top that the chains ran underneath, the gold chains with the gold ring. So you shall make 2 chains of 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate on the edge of it, which is in the inner side of the ephod or the gold apron. And 2 other rings of gold you shall make and put them on the 2 shoulder straps underneath the ephod toward its front, right at the seam above the intricately woven hand of the ephod. They shall bind the breastplate by means of its rings to the rings of the ephod, using the blue cord so that it is above the intricately woven band of the ephod, so that the breastplate does not come loose from the ephod or the apron. So Aaron shall hear the names of the sons of Israel, shall bear the names of the sons of Israel on the breastplate of judgment over his heart when he goes into the holy place as a memorial before the Lord continually. So the holy place is the Ark of the Covenant, or wherever the Ark of the Covenant is resting. And you shall put the breastplate of judgment, the Urrim and Thummim, respectively, called the lights in perfection, and they shall be over Aaron's heart.
Right. So this is a construction manual for the breastplate that was used. Can I ask a
Right. This
question?
is how it's all connected together. So Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel over his heart before the Lord continually. Now, the only adaptation is that the spectacles have like a silver cord, an attachment that runs down the side of them and connects to the connects to the breastplate.
Okay, that's interesting. So, cause
And I thought that was interesting too, because you know, when we are in an out of body experience in astral travel,
yeah.
how some people experience seeing this a silver cord.
Well, do you think your thing was it wasn't astral? You were sitting at your desk when you were doing this, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think there's a connection there with the properties of silver as being some kind of connector to the higher realms.
Can I have a little education on who the 12 sons of Israel, and did those change? Obviously, this was a long time ago, and was this interchangeable, or was this at this time? This is all explained in this particular thing. I mean, did you have the names of the 12 sons, or whatever is indicative of the 12 tribes, or what was that applicable to you in what you had?
Oh, I think there were 12 stones affixed to it, but I don't know if they were representative of the 12 tribes.
Is that what the 12 sons? Is that what they meant by the 12 sons?
Oh yeah. Um, the 12 tribes of Israel, you know, the 12 sons of I think yeah, is it of Jacob, right? In the Bible.
Well,
And so
I don't know. I'm kind of curious because
each of their names uh, was etched on the original one,
right.
on each stone, on each, so each respective stone had one of their names etched upon it.
So I want to be I kind of want to ask you another little side question here. You're just a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to get back to these Urim and Thumin folks, and we'll get into the Gospel of Thomas and how this was used probably in the second show. But can you talk a little bit about the okay? You've got the Jewish people. Moses led everyone who wanted to be free was allowed to go with Moses. There was no Jewish religion. There were black people. There were probably Hindu people. There are probably a variety of different genetic, racial, and cultural types, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's right. There were others that were
Did they
that
all become named? Did they all get to carry the name Jewish, or how did that work?
I think later on they did, but if they affiliated with the House of Israel, like I think Ruth was an example.
Well, what was Israel called back then?
Oh well, they were just collectively called themselves the Hebrews.
Okay,
Hmm.
right. Okay, so that's good to know. So I guess I was trying to put it in the context of today of how we're looking, because some people, you know, they're claiming don't intermarry, and some of the genetic stuff they're saying, but
Oh no, see in the New Testament, this was all done away with, and Paul explained that all are of one blood upon the earth, male and female, black and white, a Jew and Gentile.
yes, I
So
realize that.
you know, all became equal, and so this is
So the old myth, even from Moses's time, was to kind of separate themselves and to in a sort of elite sense, or was it they were just trying to keep to these?
well, this is what the hierarchy has always wanted to do. But there are examples even of Gentile people in the genealogy of Jesus. So it's not something that's that you know, it's some people would like to have seen, and others, when you're looking at the spiritual elements of it, it's not really that important.
Right.
Because even when Jesus was alive in his ministry, he criticized the Jews that were or in the power structure that were collaborating with the Romans. He said, "You really think you're something, don't you? But I can turn these stones into sons of Abraham."
Wow.
So yeah, so his message was a spiritual one, and he healed everybody that came to him, including a Roman centurion's daughter.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's amazing here. So we're getting, a lot of the myths around religion of choice and how elite they are. The Christians think they're elite, the Catholics think they're elite, the Baptists think they're the only way, the Seventh-day Adventists, you probably even have Buddhist monks who are feeling their way is superior. You have, Krishnas, we're all the same. And this is the great message of Christ that was given 2,000 years ago to put everyone on a new level of understanding. They were always trying to get us to there, but we were so secular and so limited in our viewpoint. So here we have this revelation, because I think now in modern day era, you're the only other person. I mean, obviously it's probably been more, but other than Joseph Smith, which was in the 1800s or the 1900s, but to actually use these. So, I mean, I think this means a lot for humanity that this is now coming out, and probably for the first time ever in modern day, as far as I know, the only person that's ever used the breastplate of Aaron and used the bilocation signal of the two seer stones. It's an incredible.
I found a precursor to what I'm doing, and this is a Fate magazine from 52 years ago.
Okay.
There's an article in here about a Paul Solem up in Idaho, and he was Latter-day Saint, and he was in contact with Venusians. His story is in here, and he brought his message first to the people. He went to the West Coast and down to Arizona, from California, and then Arizona and that area.
What frame was this?
This is in the late 1960s and early 1970s.
Wow.
And he brought the message, the same one that I'm bringing, and the people rejected him mostly.
Did he talk about the was he talking about the breastplate?
Yeah, he talked about that.
He used them?
He talked about lost tribes of Israel and the city of Enoch being translated to Venus and everything.
Right,
and
but
nobody wanted to listen to him. So the Venusians told him that he should take his message to the American Indians. So he contacted the Hopi Indians in Arizona and New Mexico, and he was given some prophecies.
Was it Grandfather David?
To deliver our Chief Daniel. I think it was Chief Dan. And well, at first the Native Americans didn't want to hear him, but Chief Dan listened very carefully, and then he said this man has a true message, and we should listen to it. And so the people were blessed from that, and so was Paul, so was Brother Paul, for being faithful and carrying out the mission.
He was giving a message, but was the message he was given, was he given the breastplate of Aaron and the seer and the interpreter?
Oh yeah. He had seer stones and everything. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, see?
And then he went there, and then they gave him the power. They gave him a real amazing power to call down the saucers. Oh. And so during one of the Native American celebrations, just for Chief Dan's benefit, he called down the flying saucers and they hovered over the site.
Oh, so and then that kind of cemented in the within the natives the truth
Yeah.
of that message. You
And
know,
then later on, he went up into Nevada and he had all these experiences. And there was a landing of a mothership at Pyramid Lake. This guy was amazing.
wow. He didn't, well, he didn't get any publicity. I mean, it's kind of
No, yeah, it was kind of under the weather because they did. Everybody thought he was a kook in the, as far as the mass media at the time, and they didn't really pay him all that much
same
attention.
thing today, cause it's the same thing. It hasn't changed one little.
By the time he began his work and his ministry, Long John Neville had been off the air, and so he didn't have that opportunity. And Project Blue Book was closed in 1969. Although the government continued, under the cover to investigate flying saucers, but so far as the public was concerned, they said we're not in the UFO business anymore.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the Urim and Thumin stones that these people you've laid the foundation. Do you have anything else you want to talk about the historical aspect?
Oh no, no, that's about it. It's just that so you could see why that I just simply say that it came about by supernatural means, because it is a long story with a vast historical context to it.
Incredible. Now, Dr. Keller, did you put those pictures and everything together just since we talked?
Yeah.
Wow, folks. Thank you, Raymond. This is very special. I requested this from Raymond and he put this together. Now, I want to, eventually get into this. Now, in the Book of Mormon, this technology was handed to him, but I think he found just the book on his own underneath in the box by where he was told to by folks. Angel Maroney came to Joseph Smith when he was 12 years old or 20 or something, 19, and said, go look. And then he went a second time. And the third time he had to slap Joseph Smith around, take the cell phone out of his hand and say, stop texting, I'm talking to you. No, after three times,
he had to get his attention.
Got his attention. He was waking up. He wasn't sure if it was a vision, a dream, or he was going crazy. Finally, he went out and he followed the instructions. And I guess all he found was the book. And then Maroney handed him the other things and gave him personal instruction. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. How to use that to interpret the book.
Awesome, folks. So here we hear Mormons listen. Going to want to fry us at the stake, I'm sure. But this means that Angel Maroney materialized physically from a higher dimension, lowered its vibration, and physically handed to Joseph Smith the breastplate of Aaron and the seer, and together called the interpreter, to look into this ancient past. Now, Raymond Keller, let's talk about yours. You don't have to go into that much detail. I do know that Alon, the security chief, and folks, I feel so honored that I was able to write the introduction to this gospel, which you can get for free on my website, along with snippets of each of the little gospels that Raymond has authorized for you to hear about the Gospel of Thomas, which I hope the sales will skyrocket on my website and also on Amazon. Okay, but we appreciate if you buy through my website.
Oh, Fate magazine in January's edition. Inside the front cover will be an advertisement for the Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene.
So Raymond's doing advertisement there. Also, you're speaking in Pennsylvania. Is it April 6th?
That'll be in April 6th. And then also in Wytheville, Virginia on June the 8th. And I just got the invitation right before I came on the air.
And he'll be in Germany in the later in the end of
Or early July.
end of June, early July, and then he will be in Mount Shasta here, the 18th to the 21st. So let's. Have you finished the history? I don't want to interrupt you, but
Oh, yeah, this is I just want to say that we walk a fine line here on this earth. We don't realize it, but we're in the spiritual realm and the physical realm simultaneously. And it's a matter of our consciousness, of where we put our mind, where we put our heart, where we put our intentions. And so when I talked about being in the zone, it's when you're in the spiritual consciousness,
right
when your heart and mind are in the higher celestial eternal things. That's when you could be as it says in the Bible, in the world but not part of it.
And if you read the Bhagavad Gita, particularly Paramahansa Yogananda's dissertation on it, it really explains about the battle between light and darkness that goes on in the self. And there are aspects in the Bhagavad Gita that are representative of the human condition, including the blind father that doesn't have his only represents the senses that are blind. And there's a whole beautiful dissertation between the spiritual battle that goes on between man's spiritual and divine nature. And this is played out in the actual historical characters, which oddly enough is a real, really took place as an epic kind of like play for humanity. Let's go now to the epic play chapter Raymond Kaz receives from Milan, the security chief of the Venusians. How did they contact you? Did they offer that to you? Did they ask it, or they just knew when you saw the actual Urrim and Thumin? They go, "Oh, Raymond likes that," and they decided to allow you to have access once again to the Akashic records, albeit this time for a very specific purpose, right?
Yes, this is the thing. It's a specific purpose that we're talking about. You need the proper tools for the job, right?
You need the proper craftsman. Raymond is a proper craftsman. He won't mention that, folks. But trust me, his research abilities, the annotations in this book, which we've been going through, are incredible. He's a biblical scholar. He doesn't like shout out, this and that and hellfire and brimstone, but he pretty much, he's popping off names and books and acts and pages, and he's a lot more knowledgeable. I'm not really ever been guided or motivated to do that. I'm always looking for truth, and I probably should study the Bible more accurately. But with Raymond Keller around, I guess I can put it off a little longer. So Kaz, so they got a hold of you somehow. And
yes, they knew that throughout my life they were that I was being guided and to become a historian and to study these subjects in depth. And so when I was ready, I was given the proper tools to do the job, as it's described there in the Book of Mormon about the conditions of serving as a translator or interpreter of an ancient text.
So let's talk about, so did you have to ask questions? Did he telepathically impress upon you after he left and gave you the stones? Did he connect with you, or did he let you do it individually with him so he knew that you knew how to do it? How did that work?
Well, it's a process of being in one mind, with the with another, because that I can tell you this, that every little atom in the universe is connected with another atom somewhere.
With every atom.
Even every single atom, even if it's on the other side of the universe.
Or in another galaxy, even.
Or in another galaxy, or in another dimension.
In another time or another space.
And so
we're all connected.
We're all connected and we're all a drop of water in a cosmic ocean. And what is an ocean but a collection of drops?
Exactly.
So,
I
so
love
this
your
is
allegories.
yeah, this is the whole thing about it. And of course we have a higher consciousness. We have an oversoul. And so when we're in contact, when we're in communion with our own oversoul, we're in the celestial, we're abiding in the celestial realm.
So
And then
again,
our physical form on earth is just an aspect of that oversoul.
so can you take us through the handover of the technology? This was done somewhere. You wouldn't need to tell us where or how it took place, but describe the interaction. Did you go, oh, really, for me? And
Well, it was after I viewed the seer stones of Joseph Smith in the
in Missouri, I know.
in Missouri, in Independence, Missouri, in the temple there, that I decided that this is what I really wanted to do, to experience what it was like. And
Wow.
it wasn't long after that that I was approached with the possibility of doing it.
Was the lawn or the
Uh,
queen?
yes. Uh-huh.
The queen?
No, Alon. Uh-huh.
Okay, so Alana approached you, and then how long was it till after that you received them?
Oh, it was not very long. I would say just maybe a month.
Okay, and so I guess they had to make this for you personally, I imagine.
Yes, that's right.
Wow. I wonder who sewed it. There's a seamstress we know on Venus that's pretty good. Anyway, so uh again, did he did he just communicate through you of the one mind and the Christ consciousness? Is there any preparation for you? You couldn't be distracted. I mean, you're pretty in the zone most of the time. I would say personally, emotionally, when I observe you, you're in the zone a lot. So
Oh, thank you, Rob. Oh,
was there anything special? Can you explain what he said
no,
to you?
he happened to be in the area,
He
and
happened to be
he knew that that was what was on my mind.
right. So when he handed them to you, what were the instructions?
Oh, the instructions were basically he said to just do what Clayton told me to do. So
And
we would meet at Clayton's house in Murray, Utah, with the Osiris UFO group.
yeah.
Then we'd all take our hands, take our turn, moving our hands over uh, Egyptian papyrus and artifacts from ancient Egypt
Oh,
uh, to like practice doing psychometry.
interesting. Okay, so you'd already practiced this briefly with
And that was right before we were doing all this, right before we went on the pilgrimage to Mount Shasta in
right,
1987 and met Lady Ankara.
right. So I forget, you got this in 2020 or 21. I think it was 21, right?
Yeah, 2021.
Anyway, okay, Kaz. So now let's take us through um when you first started to do this in official capacity. Where did you get these texts? Were they giving you a specific, fully complete version of uh, photocopies, or were they pictures of the originals that are kept in the Coptic Museum in Cairo?
Yeah, pictures of the actual text, um, and then copies of the text with all the missing gaps or the lacunas,
Unas, I know, I love that word.
able to figure out what they really said.
Okay, so let's take us through, folks. So now here's Raymond Keller. He's wearing the breastplate of Aaron, specially made. He lost some weight, so they had to make it a little smaller. And he got the breastplate on. He was given these a type of glasses. Now, in your case, you said they added some leather. Now, how big were the stones? Did they cover your eyes? Were they like a little stone? How actual big were they? Were they polished and flattened?
They were polished and somewhat flattened and oval, but smaller than these, about half the size.
And they were wrapped in silver, only silver?
Yeah, in a twisting silver metal, kind of like a figure eight.
Interesting. Okay, I like the figure eight feature. Now they're a little larger, so they're like more like John Lennon type glasses of the 70s.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, that's a good comparison. But a little more flattened.
Right. Okay.
So
Now,
the John Lennon's ones were perfectly round, and
yeah,
these were.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a loving spoonful. Okay, they're
Oh,
gonna rectangular, but you got the idea. So, now I want to ask you, were they clear, translucent, or a little opaque, or?
yeah, translucent opaque. It'd be a good.
So you couldn't really read a book through it, but the result of your hand, the psychometry, would transfer. And
Yeah, then it's transferring. It's transferring. It's through my left hand, and then then I receive a mental picture, and then I could see through the glass that an image clearing, and then somehow in my mind I understood what was going on.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back again. Now you told me that you had a pair of leather around there. Was that so that you wouldn't see anything in your peripheral vision?
Yeah, and also to keep the silver frame in there snugly, because it was small and easy to fall off, because it didn't have the things
Right.
in the back, so the leather strap will just hold it in place.
Okay. Does strap go all the way around your head or no?
Um, yeah, it does.
Okay. Okay. So now, so you told me that they had a little thing on your forehead and one on the bridge of your nose. Are these two more Urim or what?
Yeah, there's a right where the silver meets. There's like a twisting thing there,
Like a
and
little butterfly antenna that held it up here, right?
yeah, like a little antenna.
We had a little antenna with a force stone
Yeah, a little tiny stone in the embedded in it.
embedded like number 3, and then number 4, you had one on the bridge of your nose
Yeah,
underneath,
there was a metal piece that over the nose.
and it had a little stone in there too.
No, just at the top, a tiny stone, and then the seer and the interpreter.
Okay, 2 stones and one on top, and just a metal thing on the bridge. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So folks, I've heard this story, I've asked questions, and I thought, okay, let's take this to the public now. And I wanted to ask a little more details because I've been hearing about this, and I'm just so excited that this is being known. I'm so sorry, Paul upstairs there, who thought he was crazy, and the guy was, probably, does he have anything written that we could learn about other than this Fate magazine?
Yeah, I have some of his documents, and in fact, back in the series California newspaper, back in 1980,
80.
87, or
Okay.
back in or 80.
Whatever.
Let's see, 1990. Back in
Okay.
1990, I wrote an article about him, or I was interviewed for an article, and I was talking about Paul Solem, because I collected a lot of information about him.
So does he have any book or anything written that he produced?
No, there's a lot of interviews with him, and I think what he did is he just jotted down in a notebook revelations and prophecies. And I have a collection of those.
Okay, let's bust that out for another show. More homework for you. Okay, Kaz. I'm gonna check the time here. Okay, yeah, you can really drag out an interview, young man. No, I really appreciate it. So I think we're gonna end this here, folks, and we're gonna do another interview with Raymond momentarily. So once again, I'm gonna recap again. Raymond speaking in Pittsburgh and in West Virginia and Austria. And he's going to be speaking at my conference as well. His books are on my website under shop, thepromiserevealed.net. And my summer conference, I am selling a few tickets here. They're extremely discounted right now. Lots of good information. Check my YouTube, subscribe, like, and sign up for my free newsletter. We're going to sending out a lot of information here. Got a lot of good videos coming up. And I'm going to be doing one on the global restoration plan, Kim Gogan, and how the earth is going to transform itself at some point as we get together into the ideas of the new spiritual paradigm that includes angels and ETs and the multidimensional omniverse. But
I think it's so important, Rob, that people gather to Mount Shasta this summer.
Thank you, Kaz. It is. I think when people come together, my shows are not like in stuffy rooms. This one is really going to be in nature. I don't think Kaz has even been there yet, but it's an incredible off the grid. We're going to be having massage. We might have a massage clinic. We're going to have some yoga classes. We're going to have some, beautiful nature. Some of the workshops will be in circles around a campfire. People will be able to talk. You can bring your own story. We'll have you sign up for, a 10 or 15 minute time of, we'll call it talk story in the evenings. Every evening, we're going to have a little bit of a drum circle. Then we'll have some musicians, and then we'll have kind of like an open mic, and we'll leave it to 10 minutes and let's let people share some information, maybe tell some poems. So it's a time for family to come together and to share. We don't want to just be talking at you and telling you things, but we have vendors, and we're going to have food there. Things are coming together if you check the website. Let's get back to what we're going to do in the next interview. So in the next interview, Raymond's going to explain what he saw, and we're going to ask him some details, because I go, what'd you look at today, Kaz? And he would tell me something, and this is one of my favorite ones. He goes, well, today Jesus was leading the disciples. He always liked to go into the lead. He was just walking, and they're all like, wait, Master, we're catching up. He didn't tell them. The Romans were coming over the hill. They'll be there in 4 hours. They've got to get out of there and lose the trail. So he said they come up to a hill. They're getting near a town. And he goes, look, what do you think of that goat? There was a goat tethered to a stake. And he said, they said the goat is done for, Master. He's going to be a meal. And he looks back, and what did he say, Kaz?
I don't rightly recall.
He said, don't be like that goat.
Oh yeah, don't be like the goat. Yeah, that was pretty funny. He had a good sense of humor.
Yeah, just get in line for one of those, and don't, just, hey, we're just going to switch to a steak and wait, and we'll be by. We'll give you that. Don't be like that goat. All right, folks.
We should have that on a bumper sticker.
Don't be like the goat. Led to slaughter, by propaganda. All right, folks. I'm going to end this first one. Raymond, thank you again for sharing the wonderful history of the gospel or the technology in the breastplate of Aaron. We learned many things. I did, for sure, that this technology has been used by many throughout history. And one guy that, if Raymond hadn't researched it, probably would have been lost to the unknown history of the world. I imagine probably many other spiritual beings. Is this pretty much in control of the Venusians, would you say, or do other races have a similar type technology for their own solar system?
Well, I think this technology is more closely associated with the Venusians, since it's the closest planet to our own. And you know that knowledge on Earth increases by sharp increments. It's not a gradual thing. When revelation comes, it it hits like a hammer, and it changes the world system of things. So when new knowledge comes in on the scene, and gradually, it might take a while till it gets around to all the people, but it's earth changing information, like we're receiving now about Venus, about it's only come out in the last year about life sustaining phosphenes in the atmosphere of Venus, the high prevalence of oxygen in the atmosphere, that the night side of Venus, the clouds are always lit up. So people aren't really stumbling around in the dark.
Yeah, whatever these
Yeah,
little,
so I mean, the world isn't always what the ruling paradigm of scientists and theologians and everybody tells us it is.
the trickle down theory is over. I kind of see it like, here is Christ, the highest possible avatar on the physical plane incarnating on earth, primarily due to the default in the heavenly administration and the interlopers and intruders of darkness that decide to set up nest on this lowly little earth out here. He chose to dwell within a great avatar for 3.5 years and make that imprint. And here I see it like an egg, and inside the egg, Christ came and started a fire, and the fire has been building and building. And now, like you said, like a little crack, we've got a little crack we're opening now. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe that whole egg is going to explode, and very quickly, through a very intense series of changes on the planet. You better have an open mind. You better be prepared to share and to give and to have patience and kindness, because the world's going to go through some drastic political, social, economic, and geological changes that are going to bring mankind to face himself and to go through a graduation and a learning of the spiritual truths, which is the purpose for which we've come. All right, Kaz, thank you so much. And I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna grab one other book. We're gonna talk about the Akashic records, part 2, the Urrim and Thumin, the breastplate of Aaron. For all you Christians out there who are trying to look up his address, don't bother. He's protected. So I know this is blasphemy for those of you who can't handle it, but it's wonderful information. If you could just have an open mind that these revelations continue. They're not all in our history, and they're definitely kind, gentle, sweet, powerful, intelligent souls without ego who are worthy of being the craftsmen with these incredible tools. Thank you, Dr. Keller, for being on here today. And I really, I was kind of surprised where some of the questions and answers went, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. Quite welcome.
Okay, cause Dr. Keller's books on my website. Get all 9 of them, folks. You will not be sorry. Give them away for Christmas gifts and share them amongst your family and friends.